Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at a very infamous film. It's very infamous, one, because it's one of the first found footage films ever made, even if only really half of this is a found footage film, but more on that later I guess. But also it is quite possibly one of the most controversial movies ever made. After this film's release in 1980, there were lawsuits from animal cruelty to straight up murder. However, no human deaths actually occurred during the making of this film. But again, more on that later. You see, pretty much every single one of the animal deaths that happen on screen in this film were really done by the crew on camera. And of course, don't worry, I'm not going to be showing these deaths on camera nor the aftermath of it because, yeah. The story here is that a rescue team was sent out to the Amazon rainforest to rescue a film crew who were filming a documentary about cannibal tribes. We soon find out that the film crew was then killed by the tribes, but after we see what was found on their cameras, we start to question who the real villains are here. This film is a really interesting critique of old school Mondo films, which is a really interesting subject matter, and if you're unfamiliar with them, I will go into more detail about them towards the end, so I suggest sticking around for that, especially if you're unaware of what a Mondo film is. I'll go into more detail later about what I think of the actual film itself. I will say that I 100% disagree with how this film was made. Some people have the argument that it's okay because the cast and crew actually did eat the animals after filming. However, like, they weren't killed for survival, so like, does that really matter? They were still killed for the film in the end of the day. But this isn't supposed to be a political video, so let's get into it, I guess. Oh, before I actually go into the proper analysis of the plot, I was asked to give you this little plot summary, which was given to me by my girlfriend. People try film a documentary, people get eaten. People spelt PPL, film spelt FOLM. We open on a nice peaceful drone shot of the Amazon rainforest with some lovely relaxing music. A perfect setting of tone for the film we're about to watch. A news report talks about the Amazon rainforest, which they nicknamed the Green Inferno, and they talk about a brave group who are travelling over there. After we get a short video of the crew leaving, the narrator then states that the film crew has gone missing and a rescue team is out to find them. We cut to the rainforest and we see the tribe, who are currently being chased and shot down by the military, for seemingly no reason. The troops are then joined by this anthropologist dude, who will be the one that we'll be following most in this film. We see that they've captured one of the tribe members, and are threatening them in a borderline inhumane way. So then they go out to explore, almost get attacked by local wildlife, and find a corpse. They recognize the skeleton as someone they knew through their teeth, somehow. After this, they brutally kill a rodent for food, and then make the tribe member do coke. Lovely. After this, it shows a ritualistic killing between tribe members, which I myself have chosen not to show, because, but let's just say it involves a rock with things put in it to make it spiky, and then it like, moving on. So the troops are then led by the tribe back to their village, and they sort of just vibe there for a bit while eating white paste with them. The anthropologist decides that in order to feel more welcomed into the tribe and make them more comfortable around him, he strips down completely and goes into the river. And this seems to work as they all gather around him, almost rejoicing. Some of them even get a little too excited and puts their hands on places you don't normally put your hands. So after this, the tribe officially trusts the troop. So they take them to a large net full of dead bodies and seemingly pray to it. It soon becomes very apparent that these are the bodies of the film crew who set out to film the documentary. After this, they are then invited to feast upon human flesh with the tribe, to which they actually do. So we cut back to the USA, and the researchers have actually found the footage that the film crew had originally taken. And for the remaining second half of the film, we get to see all the raw, unedited footage of what they filmed. The rest of the film is basically where it gets its found footage reputation, because up until now, it really hasn't been found footage, but from here on it is. We see a little clip of what the documentary would have looked like edited, with it being very shocking and presenting the tribe members as almost villains. However, we're then told that this is quite the opposite of what it was actually like, as the tribe really meant no harm to the crew before this, and most of this was the tribe being manipulated or abused in order to make them seem bad. We then get what might be my least favourite scene of the entire film, as the film crew kills a turtle in a horrific way. Once again, all being real. Later on, one of the members of the crew gets his leg bitten by a snake, so they chop the snake in half, and then hack off this dude's fucking leg with a machete, and then they try and burn it to stop the blood. By now, when I was seeing this, I had already just seen a video of a turtle being mutilated, and now this also looked surprisingly realistic, I was starting to feel physically ill. Unfortunately, they could not save him. He died presumably from blood loss because, Jesus Christ, they hacked off his whole ass leg. Aren't you supposed to like suck out the venom when it comes to snake bites? Not go straight to amputation. So then we just kind of vibe for a little bit, and then the director's like, hey, we haven't shown anything fucked up in a while, so then he decapitates a monkey and shoots at the tribe. We cut back to the researchers watching the video, and they're like, oh, so that's why they were weird around us when we showed up. Because they were shot at and attacked by the crew instead of trying to make peace with them. We then get a pretty horrific scene as the tribe are all told to hide inside of a hut as the crew burns it down, killing a lot of them. They film it while burning it down, presumably to make it look like a different tribe burnt it down, just to make them seem violent. And there's really good use of juxtaposition on music here, as the calm and peaceful music for the start of the film plays over this horrific scene. It's honestly pretty heartbreaking. And immediately after this, we get a random sex scene, because of course we do. To be fair, I think this scene is supposed to demonstrate how the crew is completely unaffected about what they've just done. After this, there's another ritualistic killing scene. Yippee, my favorite. I really don't like this scene. To describe it, I'll just say like, she's pregnant, and then you know when magicians will like pull handkerchiefs? Yeah. We cut back to the anthropologist who voices his concern about the inhumanity of the documentary and how he refuses to have any more to do with it. We then see some more raw footage of the filmmakers, presumably from the start, when they first arrived in the rainforest. One of the tribe members is found while she's held by them as they shout racist things and then sexually assault her. One of the members of the crew starts shouting at them, asking why they're even filming if they're not going to use it in the documentary. We then get a very infamous shot of that very tribe member impaled on a stick. We don't see it actually happen, we only see the video that was filmed by the crew in order to put in the documentary, where it becomes very obvious that they staged it in order to make it look like other tribes did this, to make them seem like savages, even though they're clearly the ones who did it. This was the last straw for the tribe, as the very next scene is the entire crew being killed by them. And it is a gory sight, however somehow not as gross of a thought as the girl being impaled on the pole. The film ends with the researchers saying that they want the film to be burnt and destroyed forever, and the final line of the film being, honestly, a little on the nose.
I wonder who the real cannibals are.
Like, yeah, by this point I think we get it. We didn't need that line to be thrown in there, but whatever. Honestly, I'm not trying to excuse the animal cruelty stuff, but if we ignore that and just look at this film as it is, it's a really good movie. So let me give you a little context behind this film. You see, in the early 60s to mid 70s, a big thing would be for people to go over to different countries and film these documentaries called Mondo films. And essentially, the entire purpose of these films was to be racist. They would kill animals, destroy things, manipulate people, do everything in their power to stage things just to make it look like other cultures were dangerous or violent. There are so many examples of these. The earliest one I believe was called Mondo Cane, and I believe that's where these films got their name from. After this, there were things like The Killing of America and Africa Blood and Guts. Most of them contained a lot of similar content, but sometimes had different themes and was trying to push different political standpoints, but it was almost always, this culture is bad. But these films are essentially exactly what Cannibal Holocaust is about. The fictional film crew were making what's essentially a Mondo film. After this film came out, so many audiences thought that it was real, so much so that there was actual murder charges to the director, which he had to bring the actors in court to show that they were still alive, which honestly, I don't get. Because yeah, the effects look real, and it's like a found footage, but we're just gonna ignore the first half of the film where it's, you know, very clearly fake. However, to be fair, the director actually made a lot of the actors who died in the film sign a contract so that after the film released, they wouldn't put their name down to be in anything else for the next couple of months, to sort of give the illusion that they may have actually died. But still, I don't fully understand how people thought this was real, but whatever, it was 1980. So anyway, that's about it. This movie is actually really interesting to talk about politically, just because it stands for some pretty good things about the anti-racism and anti-Mondo film things, but at the same time, that animal stuff is pretty hard to get over, which is understandable. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Please let me know what other films you want me to cover, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.